Welcome back to EtherLink AI Insights. I'm Alex, and today we're diving into one of the most transformative trends in enterprise technology, AI voice agents for customer service. But here's the catch. If you're operating in Europe, you've got to navigate the EU AI Act while you're deploying. Sam, this feels like a perfect storm of opportunity and complexity.
Absolutely, Alex. And the timing is fascinating. We're seeing adoption accelerate dramatically. Gartner's 2024 data shows 35% of enterprises have deployed or are planning to deploy conversational AI in customer service within 18 months. That's nearly double from 2022. But here's what surprises most companies. They're treating this as a tech problem when it's really a governance and strategy problem.
So you're saying companies are rushing to deploy voice agents without thinking about the regulatory framework first? That seems backwards.
Exactly. The EU AI Act fundamentally changes how you architect these systems. Companies with formal AI governance frameworks, what the research calls AI-led architecture, are seeing 40% faster time to value and 3.2x better compliance outcomes. That's not a marginal improvement. That's transformational. The winners in 2026 won't be the ones who deploy voice agents fastest. They'll be the ones who deploy them smartly.
Let's talk about why voice is winning in the first place. I mean, chatbots have been around for years. What makes voice agents different?
Voice is the most natural human-computer interface. We evolved to speak. We didn't evolve to type queries. McKinsey found that voice agents reduce first contact resolution time by up to 40% compared to traditional systems. But it goes deeper than speed. Voice agents handle simultaneous conversations, deliver 24/7 multilingual support without shift management nightmares, and, critically, escalate to human agents with full context. No more repeating yourself to 3 different people.
That context preservation is huge for customer experience. But let's bring it back to the business case. You mentioned some hard ROI numbers earlier. Walk us through them.
Boston Consulting Group reported that enterprises deploying voice AI in contact centers see 25-35% reductions in operational costs within 12 months. We worked with a European financial services firm that cut inbound call volume by 28% in 9 months. Not because they were turning people away, but because the voice agent resolved issues faster. Those freed-up agents moved into high-value sales conversations, which is where the real money lives.
So you're not just automating, you're redeploying human talent strategically. That's a much more sophisticated play than replace workers with robots.
Right. And here's another data point. Forrester found that 65% of consumers actually prefer voice for complex service issues, but only 22% of European contact centers offer voice-first solutions. That's a competitive gap you can drive a truck through. The companies building voice-first contact centers aren't just improving efficiency, they're winning customer preference wars.
Okay, so let's get concrete. Paint a picture of what this actually looks like in practice. Give me a real scenario.
Traditional IVR. Customer calls frustrated about billing. System says, press 1 for billing, 2 for technical support. Frustration intensifies. Voice agent. Listens to natural language, understands the problem in context, accesses account history, offers real options. Bill adjustment, account review, or routing to a specialist who already knows what you're calling about. That's an 8-minute time savings per call and a 32% improvement in satisfaction scores. Multiply that across thousands of daily interactions, and you're looking at massive efficiency and experience gains.
That's a night and day difference. Now let's address the elephant in the room. EU AI Act Compliance. Sam, how does that actually constrain or shape deployment?
The EU AI Act classifies voice agents as high-risk AI in customer-facing applications, particularly in regulated industries like finance, healthcare, and insurance. That means you need documented AI governance, bias assessments, transparency about AI involvement, and audit trails for every interaction. Many companies see that as a burden. I see it as a moat. If you build compliance into your architecture from day one, you're protected. Companies bolting on compliance later? They're in trouble.
So compliance-first design actually gives you a competitive advantage, not a disadvantage?
Precisely. Companies treating compliance as a strategic feature, not an afterthought, build customer trust faster, navigate regulation changes smoother, and actually deploy voice agents more efficiently. They're not rebuilding systems to meet requirements. They were built to meet requirements from the start. That's the difference between 40% faster time to value and 40% slower time to value.
What about the learning and optimization part? You mentioned that voice agents aren't just responding, they're learning and improving over time. How does that intersect with EU AI Act compliance?
This is where AI lead architecture gets critical. Modern voice agents operate what we call agentic workflows. They reason, decide, learn patterns, and optimize within guardrails. But in Europe, that learning has to be auditable and explainable. You can't have a black box that's improving itself without oversight. So you need systems that log decisions, flag anomalies, and provide transparency about why the agent recommended an action. That's harder than unregulated AI, but it's also more trustworthy and more defensible.
Let's talk change management. Technology is one thing, but humans are another. How do organizations actually pull this off without internal resistance?
Most failures aren't technical, they're organizational. You've got contact center managers worried about job security, frontline agents skeptical about new tools, and compliance teams asking, how do we audit this? The winning approach involves three things. First, reframe voice agents as enablers, not replacers. Agents get freed from repetitive calls to do sales and complex problem solving. Second, invest in training and change management, not just technology. Third, start with a pilot, measure outcomes rigorously, and build internal credibility before scaling.
So it's more of a transformation project than a software deployment?
Exactly. You're not just turning on a new tool, you're reshaping how your organization thinks about customer service, how you measure success, and how you govern AI. The companies doing this well treat it as a strategic initiative, not an IT project. That's why those MIT Sloan numbers are so striking. 40% faster time to value with formal governance isn't a paradox. It's because governance enables execution, not just constrains it.
What's your advice for a European company just starting this journey? Where should they begin?
Start with strategy and governance, not technology. Define your use cases clearly: inbound service resolution, outbound campaigns, escalation workflows. Map how EU AI Act requirements apply to your industry. Build a small cross-functional team with customer service leaders, compliance, and technology. Then run a pilot with clear success metrics: cost reduction, customer satisfaction, and compliance scorecard. Use that pilot to build internal credibility and refine your approach before you scale.
And timeline-wise, we're talking 2026 is the competitive threshold. By then, the laggards will be paying a real price.
Without question. The 35% adoption rate already tells us that early movers have a window. Companies starting now, in 2025, have runway to deploy smartly, learn operationally, and be fully optimized by 2026. Companies waiting until 2027, they're fighting uphill and playing catch-up in a regulated, competitive market.
Sam, this has been incredibly insightful. For our listeners who want to dig deeper into the numbers, the compliance framework, and implementation strategies, the full article is on our website at EtherLink.ai. You'll find case studies, the complete regulatory breakdown, and a step-by-step adoption roadmap. Thanks for breaking this down.
Thanks, Alex. This is happening now. Voice agents aren't the future, they're 2026. The question for every European enterprise is, are you leading the transition or playing catch-up?
Great closing thought. That's all for this episode of EtherLink AI Insights. I'm Alex, she's Sam. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.